I walked in the place, sat by the bar, all the drinks on me, don't go too far, sitting by the bartender, asked her.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Icon E, and we here on 910 Sports. Once again, I want to thank God for this opportunity to be able to, what I'm saying, just be in the presence of greatness and great people and great interviews, and with my brother from another mother. What I'm saying, your baby mama's favorite host. What's up, King Jacob in the building? What's going on, fam?
Man, another day, another blessing. Glad to be in the land of the living, man. You know my motto. Each day we wake up, we got a chance and a choice. We here, man.
Yeah, man, I feel you. I feel you. So, man, go ahead and introduce this brother so we can go ahead and get this thing started. You know what I'm saying? And get this thing moving.
All right, man. Today we have special invited guest, Coach Mike Jones, Florida Memorial University. Man, a man of many accolades, but I ain't gonna talk your head off. We're gonna go chop it up and welcome him to the show. And the first question we're gonna ask him is, who is Coach Mike Jones? Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me. And thanks for everything you guys are doing with the sports culture. Coach Mike Jones. I was born and raised in Miami Gardens, Miami, Florida. Um, Went to Miami Norland High School. From there, I went to FAMU University. Graduated in 2007. From there, I got into the coaching world. Worked in the workforce as a social worker. Moved up to a supervisor working with children that was abused, abandoned, and neglected. And in my spare time, I had coached in the youth league. I just started, giving back to the community. But coaching is a ministry for me. It's a passion. As I got into it and started mentoring and helping the youth, I realized it was something that I wanted to do, as far as, long term, pretty much. Due to my hard work, I got introduced to some good people. One of my good friends, Robert Haslam, which is the cousin of Haslam that played for Miami Heat. He started me coaching and then introduced me to Arturo Wallace, which is the offensive coordinator for Chaminade High School, which is the number two team in the country right now. Um, he had brought me along as a running back coach, or assistant running back coach, which was good for me. In sports, I played receiver and defensive back, so I kind of knew those positions. But as a running back coach, I had to learn the trenches, learn inside the box, which kind of broadened my horizons. And it helped me move up the ladder as far as a coordinator. So from there, I coached at Miramar High School in 2016. And then from there, one of my cousins, Greg Moss, was at Miami Carroll City High School. And me and El Toro Wallace went to Carroll City High School under Coach Benedict Hippolyte, who's now at University of Miami. So I coached under that staff. We did very well. Coach Hippolyte got an opportunity to go to Florida Memorial as they started this program. And brought football there after 60 years of a hiatus. So we started the program under Coach Hippolyte and Tim Harris, which was the head coach. He gave me the opportunity to work with quarterbacks there, assisting the quarterbacks, and as the years went by, he saw my hard work and dedication to the sport and asked me to be the offensive coordinator. So I became the offensive coordinator there at Florida Memorial, and Coach Harris had moved on and went to Booker T. Washington to high school, and then now Coach Bobby Rome is now the head coach. He retained me on the staff and gave me an opportunity to remain the offensive coordinator and have autonomy of the offense and hire staff. And we've had a lot of success as a group. I don't do it alone. So, I'm very thankful and honored to have a great staff. They're helping me coach the offense. Coach Costello Guyton, who coached the offensive line. Coach Charles Clavin, who coached the running backs. Roy Smith coached the receivers. And then I, coach the quarterbacks currently. So, that's a little bit about me in a nutshell. I grew up in the inner city of Miami. Single mother household. It was me and my brother, who pretty much my mom and my brother molded me to the man I am to today, along with my relatives, my cousins, and family members who also mentored me as well.
So what's so interesting about you? You have a long history, man, of people that did a lot in the Miami metropolitan area, a lot in the collegiate world, and a lot in the NFL. You know, you got Greg Moss, you got Santana Moss, Sonori Moss. So, what was it like growing up being mentored by people that was well known in the city and went on further to be well known on the collegiate realm and in the NFL?
It was good, having those guys as my first cousins. Growing up, we always was competitive amongst each other, so that always brought the best out of us. But they're older than me, so that I always had someone to look up to. So as they kind of introduced me to football, so I was able to watch them from the youth league up to high school and see how they handled themselves, how they worked, what it took to become great and elite. And I just tried to follow those footsteps. Like even today, Greg Moss, he's a analyst at Florida State, but I call him for advice and we talk, football, talk life. But pretty much like I said, I was in a single parent household. My dad wasn't there, so those guys were like great mentors for me, to show me ropes, not only just in football, but how to be a young man and move in the community and stuff like that. So it was definitely have great having relatives that were successful that I can kind of just try to follow their footsteps, and they'll hold me accountable and show me the ropes of how things had to be done.
Okay, okay, true indeed. So my when you mentioned Florida Memorial University, been knowing about this school for a while. Got a good buddy down in Fort Lauderdale that went there on a basketball scholarship years back. And I used to be like, man, what, man? Y'all don't got no football? He was like, nah, not as yet, man. He was like, but my alma mater gonna soon get a football program. So now we got you here. Y'all have a football program. So what was the transition like for the school when they first got the football program? You know, did it kind of like fall in line because they had built the basketball program up so much and was people excited for the football program, or was it a major transition to really to get it started and to really let the public eye know that you guys was now giving out football scholarships as well?
Well, Miami is a mecca of football. And it was like a hiatus of 60 years without football. So it was something that, the community kind of wanted. So the board, the chairman, and the school had a vision to bring football back. In 2019, pretty much the transition, Coach Ice, Coach Tim Harris, and Coach Benedict Hippolyte, they recruited from pretty much Key West all the way up to Georgia, just hitting every school, letting them know that football was coming back, and recruiting, athletes to pretty much come to the school. So in 2020, we had started spring practice, and pretty much transition towards the season, but then COVID hit. So we had played 3 games, and then the season had got canceled due to COVID. At that time, it was a mass pandemic, and we didn't have all of the resources. If you had COVID, you think you had to have like an EKG and respiratory testing and things of that nature. So we wanted to protect the athletes. So it was decided that, until the pandemic was under control, that, football was going to kind of halt. So that was kind of dampening for the athletes who had got, excited about it and started. But once we got a handle of things, we had started back in the 21 season. But the community was excited about it. It definitely was a transition being a startup program. You have multiple NAIA schools that's been around for numerous years that have, seniors and red shirt seniors, and you have, predominantly a team of freshmen. So these past couple of seasons, we've took our, share of bumps and bruises, but now we've had under Coach Bobby Rome a full season of recruiting and bringing in the student athletes that we need to bring in to be successful. And currently right now we're 4-3 and 3-1 in the conference and having success. But I think the administration, AD Horn, and the school, the chairman, the faculty and staff have done a great job with transitioning the program, as well as Coach Rome coming in, transitioning the program to new heights. So we're definitely looking to do big things and continue to grow the program, and win and graduate our athletes.
Okay, that's great. So you as a coach, ask you a couple more questions, then I'm gonna hand it over to my partner Icon. What is the most impactful offense that you've ran, and what is the most impactful defense that you've ran as well? When it really comes to changing the narrative, how the players see the field, and how they think, as far as having a great football IQ.
Most impactful offenses that I've been around is, the spread offense. We currently run that at Florida Memorial. High tempo offense where we, keep defenses on their heels. We tend to try to think players, not plays. Trying to get the ball to our playmakers to let them make, the explosive plays for you. We all have athletes that are game changers, and you have to find a way to get them the football. So I think we've done a good job of that this year, spreading the football around. With us playing so fast at a high tempo, we typically have in between 80 to 90 plays a game at times, which kind of wear defenses out. But our mindset is sideline to sideline, goal line to goal line. We're gonna take our shots and be aggressive, but make the defense have to play the full field with the spread offense. So I think that's something that's unique about what we're doing. I don't really coach defenses, but the most impactful defenses, at this time around is, like you have to be able to compete with spread offenses. So, typically a 4-2-5 defense with a nickel and who can kind of cover, pretty much is what we're kind of seeing at this point. Most of the time in college football, you gotta you gotta score points to win. So teams is passing it is kind of like pass friendly these days. So you have to be able to cover those receivers out in space.
Okay, I come back to you.
Okay, before we continue on, just want to recognize our affiliates, Villas Global Network, our 173 countries, 10 radio stations from Real Radio to T-Dub Entertainment Radio. Follow us on 910 Sports Entertainment Network, spelled out exactly how I'm saying it. Subscribe there on YouTube. And if you want to interview, hit us up at icone910sports at gmail.com for an interview, or if you want us to come and book at media or day or whatever you have going on at your sporting events. So anyway, sir, Coach, so what's the preparation that it takes to have a number one offense? Because when I seen the numbers, I said this is kind of ridiculous on a high school level to have the kind of numbers y'all putting up on a high school level, and being a number one offense. Being a number one offense on any level is a big deal. But when you're doing it on high school and putting up 500 yards a game, so what kind of preparation does it take to even get the mindset to be able to do that?
Well, we're actually on a college level. NAI is pretty much a college level, but the preparation every week, as a staff, we pretty much get together, starting in the off season, scouting our opponents as far as their film, their tendencies, tagging the film to get the analytics and breakdowns. As far as getting the cut ups ready for our athletes, pretty much cards prepared for the athletes, so when we practice that we can have scout periods and show them what the other team is doing. But in season we start after the games on Saturday, we immediately start watching our opponent. On Sundays we come to the office and pretty much start breaking down the tape and game planning, game planning as far as what we're going to do in practice, as far as the plays that we're scripting for the game, and then developing the game plan for Saturdays. So we start on Sundays, pretty much with pretty much like an overview. We feel like most defensive coordinators have a fingerprint, so we try to find what's that fingerprint. What do they like to do in certain areas of the field? How do they change as you get to the red zone? So we start breaking that down, from the black zone, which when you're backed up, all the way to the goal line. And then we start preparation as far as practice. On Mondays, we typically go first and second down, what we're going to do coming out on those downs versus, the scout defense. Tuesdays, we usually go third downs. And then Thursday, we usually go fourth down and, pretty much certain scenarios, and then we break it all the way down until our dress rehearsal on Friday as we're going through the whole plan, and then we put it together on Saturday. But to answer your question, it's a lot of film work, a lot of breaking down the analytics, a lot of meetings with your players, making sure, because it's not what you know, it's what your players know. So just making sure that they understand the plan, and things that they do well, we keep. Things that they don't do well, we kind of take out the game plan, and just kind of make it friendly to the players. I think that's one of the good things that we've done this year. What we call is FBI, football intelligence, just making sure that the football players that we have, understand the plan, and just catering to what they do well. I think sometimes as coordinators or coaches, you can try to put in all of these fancy plays, but it's really about what your players can execute at a high level.
Okay, so speaking of analytics, and so we all know that analytics have been kind of one of those controversial type of things, and kind of can be have that gray area with it, the way some coaches use it, as far as when they look at the analytics and you see a coach going for fourth down on their own 35 or 40. I think Mike, the coach from the Chargers, went from it on like on 21 time, like a few weeks ago, something crazy. So being that we kind of old school, and I know you come from the old school cloth, and in this world of analytics now, is it do you feel like that you kind of stick to that, or do you feel like, okay, now sometimes we gotta use some common sense, and you know what I mean? Because I feel like
Yeah,
some coaches don't use common sense, and it's like, okay, especially like in the game, it's a feel to the game.
yeah, it's
So
a feel.
your offense struggling, or the defense is struggling or playing good, then you can adjust to say, you know what, the defense playing good. Okay, I feel comfortable going for it on the 45 or the 50. But the defense giving up touchdowns left and right, he might want to just go ahead and play the ball this time around. So how do y'all? What's y'all approach when you kind of thinking about that kind of thing?
I think you have to call a game aggressive to go in the mindset that you're gonna do everything you can to win. But like you said, it's definitely a feel. Like you said, if because we kind of bounce off of each other. We're a balanced team. So if the defense is doing well, the offense just pretty much have to make sure that we don't do anything to shoot ourselves in the foot. Vice versa, if it's the defense is not playing as great as they would like to. Well, sometimes we have to play keep away and just kind of manage the game based on the field. So as you going through a game, you kind of get that feel, and okay, well, maybe we don't need to gamble or play this aggressive this week because our defense is playing well.
Okay, so when it comes to like your play calling and stuff, do you ever watch like some of like the big dog schools like a Georgia, Alabama, USC, Texas, whatever, and say, I want that same play, or I think they stole that from me. Have you ever find yourself like watching them games because you seem like a very creative? I'm pretty sure I know you got to have a creative mind for y'all be putting the kind of numbers y'all putting up. So I know you got a lot of creative plays that you either done or either it might even be something that you ain't pulled out the hat yet, and you see somebody else do it, you be like, okay, it might be time next week.
Yeah, I mean, all the time. I think football is universal. And a lot of the coordinators, we call the same plays. It's just, it's all about the details, and that's something the things that we've been harping on is just the details of the play, making sure that we execute the details at a high level. But definitely, for example, I'm from Miami, so right now the Dolphins have been putting up crazy numbers. So, as a staff, we watch, the Dolphins, sometimes and see what Mike McDaniels is doing and say, okay, that's a good idea. And there's other coordinators around the world that that I watch. You know, when I get downtime to see what they're doing and what's the new trends, because you can always learn, and I think that's something that we've been doing well as a staff is always you know watching clinics, going to the coaching clinics conference, talking to other coaches, seeing what they're doing, and being a sponge. If what they're doing is better than something that we're doing, then we kind of learn from others as well. I think, like you said, being from a different era, you can always find a way to get better. We're always harping on our athletes to get better and to in their weight training and how they train on the field. As coaches, we have to do the same. We have to evolve and change with the game, and also learn from what other people are doing. So it's definitely some plays that we put in that we turn on the tape and we see others doing, vice versa. We may get an idea from someone else and keep it in our back pocket.
Okay, so before I switch gears, what's y'all penalty at the next practice after a dumb foul, holding, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, offsides? What's y'all go-to penalty that the players gonna be like, oh man, I know I'm gonna get it on Monday or Tuesday whenever y'all get back to practice?
We call it accountability. So we typically watch the tape. We kind of harp on not shooting ourselves in the foot and having penalties that can hurt us as a team. But accountability, we have a coach, Coach Cunningham. So when we tell the players they have to go see Coach Cunningham in the end zone, they coach, oh man, but like the gashers, typically, the accountability, we make them run and try to hold them accountable for what they did to cost the team, whether it's a personal foul or a major penalty in the game.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit, when you talked about um being touring the youth, in your younger years and coming up. And I know Miami, everybody knows, the reputation of Miami being a lot of violence and, crime and different things going on outside the glitz and glamour of, South Beach and all that. because we always see Miami somewhere on first 48. You know what I mean? So, so as far as that goes, what's the difference between back in the day when you first started mentoring and now trying to get to these kids and trying to get them to understand there's more to life than running the streets?
When I grew up, it was around the drug epidemic. So sports and football kind of kept me away from those type of things. But you'll see it as you walking home from school and different things of that nature. It was a lot of violence, and a drug epidemic. So pretty much our like mentors and coaches try to keep us away from that stuff by keeping us busy. After school, coaches came and picked us up and took us to the football practice, and you went home, and that was a way of trying to keep you away from the streets. But that's how they kind of mentored us to try to stay away from that type of stuff. Um, especially for us that didn't have fathers. So, as a young coach and as a young mentor, I tried to return that favor based off of the coaches and the family members that I had that kind of kept me away from that stuff. That's why I kind of got into this as in this field as a coach, as a ministry, at first to kind of give back and help. But a lot of things that I see these days is kind of you know, like a repeated, cycle as far as, you know, we have to coach and mentor, and you have some guys that does not have that strong father figure in the household. So when you're trying to give them that feedback or criticism at times, they take it as, man, coach, you trying me, or, why you so hard on me and stuff like that. But we kind of just try to stay the course of explaining the why. This is why we're tough on you. We're trying to keep you away from certain things, or we're trying to steer you to the right direction, so that way when you become you know a father or a responsible person in your household, what's right, or how you should handle situations. So um the environment is still tough, for these young men and the youth that's growing up. They're seeing some of the same things that we're seeing. Um but you have to just kind of try to stay in their ear, and keep them you know busy and not idle.
Well, I got two questions before I kick it back to Jacob. So one, because I'm a diehard Miami Hurricane fan myself. If you don't know this, I'm a very diehard. I'm talking about Vinny Testaverde. I'm talking about Michael Irvin back in the day. I'm talking about when they used to wear I don't know what you call it, crop tops, jerseys, whatever you call them jerseys. I'm talking about back in the day, '80s. You know what I'm saying? That's how far I
Mhm.
go back. So two questions. One, were you like me when Cristobal made that mistake? Did you want to throw your TV? Did you want to break your TV? You know what I'm saying? That's the first question I want to ask you. Did you want to break your TV when you seen that?
That was tough, to see the Hurricanes lose that one like that. It was definitely tough watching it.
Because you got deeper ties than me with family and people and living and from Miami. So I know your heart even bleed even harder than mine. You the first person I met that probably heart bleed more even mine because of the fact all the ties you got going on, whatever. So and we all been waiting for them to get back to those 80s, 90s, early 2000 days. So just by watching them now over the last just like this is go this year. What have you seen improvement wise that basically we haven't seen over the years? And where do you think that what's the next step in development? Because I have seen some steps in the right direction. So just kind of explain to me what you've seen as especially from a coach's eye and an ex-player eye, what you've seen just from that.
I think definitely the U is gonna be back on track in the next couple of years. Maybe if not finishing strong this year, definitely next year they have recruited well. with this staff. And I think the coaches that they have in is doing an awesome job. Especially the new offensive coordinator that they have. He's more of of an air raid guy, and they're doing a good job of spreading the ball around, getting the ball to playmakers. I see the different screens and the different ways that they're getting their athletes the ball. And I like what they're doing on defense. They're playing a aggressive style defense. But I think they have some guys there from South Florida that is definitely good in the recruiting aspect as well, and that can relate to the athletes. And I think they're doing a definitely a great job. The win last week versus Clemson was a big win for University of Miami.
Yeah, because that Bang Jr., woo, he was looking out there looking like Michael Parsons out there, Junior.
Yeah,
Lord,
he's definitely watching him play in South Florida. Yeah, he's definitely a dog. He's gonna be one of the greats.
so you seen him before, like, so you knew about him before he got there.
Yeah, I definitely seen him at Miami Central. Going out there recruiting.
Is this did you see this like what you see now in Miami? Did you see that in high school?
Yeah. He's been that guy.
Okay, Jacob, back to you, brother.
Yeah, he a dog. He a dog, and you probably won't meet a bigger Clemson fan than me. So, I said, this is what I can tell about schools like Miami and Florida State. Their program, it seemed like their program came about of nowhere. They explored the transfer portal, and you can tell that people like Dabo Sweeney and Nick Saban didn't, because they are traditional coaches. And so thinking outside the box, exploring the transfer portal, that really puts everybody on an even playing field. And I know you say you had to get out of here because you got to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning. So before you get out of here, what are the advantages of exploring the transfer portal, and how does that make athletic program better in your opinion?
That's something that we did this off season, and that's a great attribute as far as why we're having a success. I think the pros of it is that you can find some high character athletes that are ready to go right now, that has mentored mentally and physically. College football is it's a grueling physical sport, and it's a high demand to win right now in the coaching world, and just culture, like your fans want to see you win right now. It's a what have you done lately, what have you done for me lately type business. So with the transfer portal, you can definitely get guys who are older, that have some experience, because experience is very important. So you can get a guy right now that have developed and been mentored and been coached, and you can come in and bring them in and kind of cultivate that, and kind of continue to take it to the next level. But that's definitely a pro right now when you have a void due to attrition to guys graduating or leaving your program, that you can bring in a plug and play guy that's ready to go. Amongst someone who's a freshman who has no experience, that you have to develop and kind of mentor and get them ready to go.
Okay. So with that being said, man, do you think the NI deals that you see a lot of kids get, do you think that's too much money for kids to have? Not saying they should get anything, but when a kid is already worth 2.5 million dollars, $5 million when they're 20 years old, how does that affect kids mentally, in your opinion?
I think it's still something that's new, but I think it's something that always gonna have to be regulated and kind of discussed, as if that's the best for 18, 19-year old athletes coming out making $5 million in a lot of ideals. I think in this day and age, that college athletes should get paid for their name, likeness, and image. It's just, what's a good amount, as far as what they should get at so fast, because a lot of athletes haven't seen that type of money, or don't know how to manage that type of money. So once they get that, do they still, you know keep the same drive and goals, as far as getting up and going to class, and doing the necessary things that you have to do to be an elite athlete? Or do they kind of let the money go to their head, pretty much?
All right, I come one last question for you before we let them go.
Yeah, I got one last question too before you ask yours before you go. You got another question, Jacob? Or you
Nah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
okay.
giving it back to you.
Okay, yeah, I got one last question for you. So basically when it comes to the your program, is your program set up for the kids to eventually get to an NCAA school, I mean a Division 1 school? Because I know that's a lot. I know because you can't use schools and all of that kind of stuff. And being that, I know a lot of these kids, they come through these programs and it's like, oh, coach, I want to get to the XYZ school. So is your program kind of set up for that, or for them to kind of eventually get to that point, or is it just to go through the 4 years and get the degree and, or hopefully, get drafted or whatever?
We have a saying that we tell them, it's their job, to pretty much put what they have to do on tape to try to get to a higher level, per se, like a Division 1. And it's our job to retain them and keep them for 4 years. But here at Florida Memorial, we feel that we are big time football as well. We play Division 1 schools. We played Grambling this year. We played Edward Waters this year, in which we came out victorious in that game. And every year we're gonna put them on a big platform, as far as playing those type of games, Division 1, Division 2 games. And then within our conference, we have one of the toughest conference in NAIA. Kaiser in our conference went to the national championship last year. So every week in our conference, it's like playing in a championship type environment, type game. So a lot of our athletes, they love it. You know they come in and they play in those type of games, and we retain them. But we've had some athletes that move on and go to a Division 1 level. We've had a couple that went to FAMU or different schools. Pretty much just from getting the exposure that they get week in and week out. So it does happen. And when it does, we shake their hand and we tell them, we wish them the best, and it's good for both of us, because that's something that helps us in recruiting when future athletes see the number of student athletes that we have that do go to Division 1 or Division 2 schools after playing for us. So um to answer your question, yes, it is set up that way. If they if they put it on tape and the school come and say, hey man, it's this guy, he's really good, it's a win-win for both of us.
Okay, and you can answer this question, and then after this, you can tell us how to follow you and all that kind of good stuff. This one last question, and you can go into that part of it. So I just thought about Coach Deion Sanders made a statement last year before after he left Jackson State, or doing while he was at Jackson State, and you talked about basically uh, y'all playing against Division 1 schools. So if
Hmm.
you think like a Alabama or Georgia, some of these bigger schools, and his situation was like, like most of the time in those cases, you kind of know you might get beat 50-0. I'm not saying your school in specific, but a lot of those schools know they going in to get smashed on national TV. But his main thing was, if we're gonna go play these schools, then we need to be asking for 1 million. Don't come and try to give us 250,000, 500,000, because by the time we do travel and everything, they done ate up most of the funds anyway. So if we're gonna go and play these schools and know we're gonna get the brakes beat off of us, at least give us some kind of more incentive monetary wise, where it can help our school you know what I'm saying, and just not just embarrass us on TV. What's your thoughts on that kind of thing?
I mean, I think it's good for your program and for your athletes for to get that exposure as well as that feel. As far as playing a Division 1 school, it gets you battle tested. Like this year, we went and played Grambling, and in the first half, I think it was like 16-3. We had our fair opportunities to make it even closer. But when we left the game, we felt good about it because we played them pretty tough, and we felt that that can translate throughout the season. Just the lessons that we learned from those games. So I think it's good. We definitely don't go in with the mindset that we're gonna get beat.
Now,
50-0.
I'm just saying, he was just saying, most of these schools that's like Division 2, 3, when they play against one of these big dog schools, it's kind of like a slap in the face that you want us to come play you, but you only want to give us like $250,000, to come play you. But if you was playing against, like, if you're playing against some of these other schools, you might they may get it like $1 million bag. So I guess he was really trying to encourage the other HBCU schools to go in with the mindset of don't let them play y'all, as far as like play you, like, try to, trick you by saying, oh well, we give you, a couple of thousand, 100,000, and then knowing we about to beat the brakes off of you, versus saying, no, give us the same money you're gonna give everybody else. You know what I mean? Regardless of what the outcome gonna be.
Nah, I agree.
No, yeah. So Coach, I appreciate you coming on, giving us your time. I know you say you're a busy man, got to get up early in the morning, but I thank you for coming on, and wish you all the luck in the world, and blessings in the world. I know at some point you're gonna get your opportunity on that major stage. We're gonna see you probably offensive coordinator or coach somewhere, probably on Miami sideline one of these days. And oh damn, we interview him. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you coming on, brother, and to tell them where to
Thank
find you and all that kind of good stuff.
Thanks, like I said, thanks for having me, and I appreciate you guys, and thanks for what all you doing for the culture.
All right, appreciate that. Appreciate that. So yeah, so Jacob, we continue on a few more minutes. Let this brother go get him some rest, so he go coach for that national championship that I see his future. Yeah.
Hey, coach. So before you go, man, tell them where they can follow you at, and let the juniors and seniors of high school know your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle, so they can contact you.
The
If they're
best
interested in talking with you.
the best way to reach me is Mike Jones 10 on Twitter. If you shoot me a message, DM, I definitely get back with you. Send your film over. We'll get it evaluated and get back with you right away.
Okay. And my
All
brother,
right.
my brother-in-law named Mike Jones. That's the crazy part. That's my brother-in-law. Crazy. Hey, well, there, brother. You have a blessed night, brother.
All right, appreciate you guys.
All right.
All right, coach. Appreciate you.
All right.
So yeah, man. So yeah, that was Mike Jones. Everybody, we're gonna stay on here in a few more minutes, so we can swallow up this time for the night. You know what I mean? We interview was kind of shorter than usual, but that was kind of my fault. I've been on the road all day, so traveling, so I kind of got in late. So I do apologize to himself and everybody else for starting the show later than usual. But anyway, man, real quick, man, like I do gotta talk. I want to talk. I want to talk about Justin Herbert for a second, and something I heard about the coach. So basically, everybody's putting all this blame on Staley, the coach of the Chargers. But how much of this blame really goes to? Because we always want to give all the credit to, like, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, or Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But when blame comes around, it's either one or the other. So how much of this goes on Justin Herbert, and how much of this goes on to Coach Staley? You know what I mean? In my opinion, I feel like, well, I'm gonna let you answer first, and I'm gonna jump in on that.
There's sometimes in the clutch that Coach Staley may call a play that he thinks going to work, but like you said, the defenses are so fast now that the traditional plays may not work. So, but I think it should be more about the team and not more about the coach. So he takes a lot of blame, saying he in the hot seat that he's going to get fired. But I just think they put Justin Herbert on such a pedestal before we really see him even get out of the first round of the playoffs. Because when that playoff game last year against Jacksonville, there was a lot of key mistakes that he made as a quarterback, but it was play calling too. So I think it's a combination of things. So, but how the NFL analysts look at it and how the NFL sports writers look at it is totally different from how we would look at it. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like a lot of it because I forgot who I was here talking about it earlier. I think it was Coach Mangini. I think it was, but I think he was saying that basically that that Justin Herbert has to learn how to win some of these games. So even then when the defense is not playing at their best, even when coaching it, as far as the plays is not at its best, if you're going to be considered a top five quarterback, then you have to be a Jalen Hurts. You have to be a Patrick Mahomes. You have to be a quarterback and sometimes overcome adversity and win some of these games, especially when they tight ball games. It's not like you're getting beat by 30 or whatever. A lot of these games come down to you having the ball in your hand at the end, and he has a losing record. And I remember I posted a couple of weeks ago, what I mean, and I'm not the biggest Dak fan, but I'm fair. I'm fair with right is right and wrong is wrong. And I said if you look at Dak's record over the last 5 years and Justin Herbert's record over his first 5 years, or both of them first 5 years in the NFL, Dak winning record is way better. And yeah, we could say, oh, well, it's talent, it's a team game. But if you look at the Chargers have like 4 or 5 top defensive players in the league. So, of course, some of them got to be on the defensive coordinator because they have like 6 of their top 7 players on their team is the top paid, highest paid players on their team and considered top probably 5 or 10 players in the league. You got Bosa, you got Khalil Mack, you got Derwin James. So you got top players on your defensive side of the ball. Then you got a big time receiver in Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen is considered probably a top 10, top 15 receiver in the league. So it's not like you got some scrubs out there or whatever. You got a nice backfield with Austin Eckler. You know what I'm saying? So you got a lot of weapons around you. Mike Williams went down for the year or whatever, but you got a lot of weapons around you where you should be winning some of these games or not getting beat so convincingly. Because if you look at the Chargers in the Kansas City game last week, they got beat convincingly. And it's one of them things where if you can't beat Kansas City now, when they don't even have the best options on the offensive side of the ball, when are you going to beat them? You know what I mean? You can't just pay them close and thinking that you're doing something. You got to start beating these teams and the teams that you're supposed to beat, like that Dallas Chargers game. To be honest with you, the Chargers should have won that game with all the penalties that Dallas had. The Chargers really should have won that game. You know what I'm saying? And that's not me hating on Dallas. I'm just going by what I was watching. The Chargers squandered a lot of opportunities in that game. And to me, I felt like a lot of that was on. If you watch Justin Herbert, he was throwing a lot of ducks, underthrowing the ball, overthrowing the ball all through that game. You know what I'm saying? And he would have some receivers that was wide open. So because it wasn't like Michael Parsons and them was getting off on him like that for him not to be able to win that game. So
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. There's a lot of penalties, so he didn't capitalize. So, I understand that. But on to the next. So, Chicago Bears.
mm-hmm,
They won 2 in a row,
mm-hmm.
right? And so they put this rookie quarterback in, um, and he did pretty well. Does this one game of this rookie quarterback put Justin Fields in the hot seat even more?
No, because of the opponent. Because who they play? They play who? Was it the Raiders?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And the
yeah.
Raiders,
They played the
Raiders
Los
had a
Angeles the Los Angeles Pirates. Yeah, yeah.
and the Raiders. He said lost his mind. I can't. I can't. And the Raiders, they had what? Who they had out there? Brian Hoyer? I don't know who they had out there. But like the Raiders had a backup in, like one of them journeyman backup guys in. So I don't think we can really take much out of that game, or whatever, as far as because that's one of them games I don't think nobody watched, but unless you was a Raiders fan or a Bears fan, nobody was watching that game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even though the Raiders had the quarterback that you see pushing the carts at Publix. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I don't
man.
kind of stuff because I mean, if it's two backups out there, and Hoyer is more like a third string backup, if anything, he ain't even second string really. So I wouldn't even take much out of that game. The Bears, it's one of them games the Bears should have won. Just like when I was watching the Green Bay game against Denver, and I remember our old partner on his Steve was like he couldn't believe that Jordan Love was losing to Denver. And I said, what? I said, first of all, that's a game that should have been a given for Russell Wilson. And that to me, that would should have put Russell Wilson and doggone Sean Payton on the hot seat early. Not necessarily to get fired, but just in the fire of if you can't beat Jordan Love, who's been sitting around for 4 years waiting on the opportunity, and you Russell Wilson and you Sean Payton, that says more about, and they struggled to win that game. I think they had to win like by a last second field goal or something. So that to me, that was more an indictment on them, even the game to be close than it was Jordan Love, because he was like, oh, well, Jordan Love's supposed to be, he replaced, basically they replaced him for over Aaron Rodgers. And like you said, no, they didn't. Aaron Rodgers wanted to leave. He got tired of, the BS or whatever, and he wanted to leave or whatever. And, he still was up salty that they ever drafted this young man. And he still ain't been able to show that he really worth the first round pick that they drafted him at. Like I'd be different if we drafted him third or fourth round. They drafted this man first round. It took him 4 years to get out there, and he ain't looking like the forthcoming of Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. So yeah, nah. So I don't take much out of it. I think if anything, Justin Fields might end up getting traded just because it's not a good look it's not a good spot for him, or they'll fire all the coaching staff and get him a better coaching. So one of the two gonna happen, but I don't think it's necessarily on because I even know I heard something about possibly trading him to Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Because you take him to Atlanta, you throw all the weapons they got down there, that might be a good look for him. A better start. Especially if you got Robinson in the backfield and what's his name? Robinson, ain't he the running back, the rookie in
Yeah,
Atlanta?
that's the
Yeah,
rookie. That's the rookie.
yeah. You got him in the backfield, and you got Justin Fields coming out the backfield with his legs, and Pitts and Drake London and all them guys. Oh yeah, you know what I'm saying. He might do some damage in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely a good look for him. So I wish him well, man, and I hope he do get out of Chicago, cause Chicago haven't developed a quarterback, at all. I know, when they won the Super Bowl, Jim McMahon was around a lot of people, and he was what we call a system quarterback. But Chicago don't develop good quarterbacks. So on to the next. Was it cut first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, fifth cousin, removed on your grandma's side, but whoever he was, he gave the 49ers the business. He
mm-hmm.
gave them all the buffet they wanted to eat. That was early turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, true that, true that. Um, yeah, I was impressed by Kirk Cousins last night because to play against a team like the 49ers, like a top 10 defense, top 5 defense really, and to go in there and play and make big throws and big plays, you know what I'm saying, throughout that game without his best receiver, it says a lot. And it kind of goes with what you were saying last week when me and you were discussing we was discussing some game, and then you said it don't matter. You play you all of NFL players. You go out there and play. You don't make excuses about who there and who not. And Kirk Cousins has never been one to make excuses, even when people bash him or whatever. And the crazy part about it is, I think Kirk Cousins has one of the worst records when it comes to like Monday night football or primetime games, Monday night, Sunday night, Thursday night game. He got like one of the worst records as far as a starting quarterback, especially all the money he making. So for him to go in there and show up and show out the way he did, maybe he finally felt like, I need to step up because he is on the one of them quarterbacks that he in the last year's of contract. They talking about, they could possibly trade him, or because if they don't trade him, they'll lose him for nothing. So I don't know if he was more focused to say, let me ball out before the trade deadline. So, if they do decide to trade me, I can land well in a good spot or whatever. So maybe that's what it was about. Who knows?
Okay, so reports Miami Dolphins
Mm-hmm.
has been putting the world on blast, but Shannon Sharp said when Miami play against a real defense, he said even though Tyreek Hill had a touchdown call back, he dropped one in the end zone. He said that Miami defense is good enough where Jalen Hurts shouldn't have looked like a all star playing a Nerf football team out there. And so I think that Shannon kind of throw them on the bus a little bit. If you look at how uh, the Eagles defensive coordinator really changed the narrative of his play calling, he just mixed it up so much. Miami ain't know what to do. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, I just think that like we put these teams on a pedestal too fast as far as being great or not great throughout the season. And you gotta let some of these games play out a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's too early in the season because right now, who really looks like they really the best team in the NFL? Even though like the Eagles beat them and whatever, Eagles and I don't heard somebody say earlier the Eagles don't have any flaws. But I'm like, y'all wasn't saying that last week when y'all kept before this game yesterday. Y'all was a couple of days ago. Y'all was saying the Eagles was struggling and they don't look like the same team from last year, and all of a sudden they don't have any flaws. Every team has a flaw or two in the NFL, especially nowadays. You don't just have no straight dominant team. So at the end of the day, once by the time you get to the playoffs, that's why they heard somebody say, I forgot who it was. I want to say it was Keyshawn Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson, he putting the Saints in the Super Bowl because he feel like they're gonna win the division. And then once they win a division, you got 3 games to basically get to the final game, and depending on the matchup and whatever, they can get to the Super Bowl. So and that can go for anybody. Remember, the Giants did it twice in their history, where both times when they played against the Patriots, and they one year they was like 9-7, and I think the other one they was like maybe 10-6 or something. So neither time they had like a great record made it to the Super Bowl. So I think we could get one of those type of years this year where a team that could come out of nowhere, like a Seattle or Detroit or somebody else could come and maybe go on a run and get to the Super Bowl. Because I don't think we have one definitive team that's just better than everybody else. Even the Chiefs, look flawed, have some flaws to their game. So I just believe it's one of those things where sometimes it's matchups, and then sometimes even when it's two evenly matched teams, you make mistakes, like you just said, drop touchdown, touchdown call back. So those little things right there could cause you to lose a game. Whereas let's say Miami and Eagles played in the Super Bowl, and Miami cleaned up those things. It could be reversed. They could win 31-17 based off the same thing. Because you remember the Super Bowl last year, the Eagles was dominating the Chiefs in the first half, and that one fumble that Jalen Hurts made turned the whole game upside down. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think. I don't get too worried about that type of game this early. You know what I mean? I think it probably was more of an alarm when they got the breaks beat off of them by Buffalo than this game that they just lost. You know what I mean?
Right, 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 right. So I think that the Dolphins still a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, they just lost a game. Just like the 49ers just lost a couple of games. Like I didn't see no team going undefeated anyway. So with so with that being said, now Keyshawn, give me the ball, Johnson. Now Keyshawn, I like you, bro. But for when you talking about the Saints gonna win the Super Bowl, if the Saints win the Super Bowl, man, everybody gonna be eating crab sauce down there in New Orleans.
Well, I don't know if he
I,
said
I
it was
don't.
going to win. I don't want to misquote him. He didn't say they were going to win it. I think he said they were going to end up losing to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But he said they were going to go to the
Okay,
Super
okay. But for them to get there, I don't know if you've been down New Orleans and you got some of that New Orleans sauce or some of that Baton Rouge fish.
Bowl.
But
Hey,
listen, boy, you talking a lot. You talking a lot right there.
he got one of them Creole chicks to put something on him and got him in there out of his neck. You know
I
what I'm saying?
don't know, boy. But I don't, I don't even like to bring this up, man. But why did Rex Ryan blame everybody on the team but Josh Allen? Rex Ryan, you on get up, on Monday morning, and you blame everybody but Josh Allen. Nobody wants Josh Allen to take any accountability.
I don't get it.
We talking about being in the league 5 or 6 years, bro, and you already throw almost 70 interceptions. You at like 66 interceptions, 66 interceptions and 20 turnovers.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah, because
that's
like
unheard of, man.
a hundred turnovers all together when it comes to the interceptions and the fumbles put together. You probably got almost to 100 turnovers. Like I don't get it with Josh Allen. I don't get it with Justin Herbert, where it's like game in and game out, season in and season out. They don't get no accountability for losing. It's the coach's fault. It's the defensive fault. It's this one and that one's fault. And I'm like, do y'all really sit back and watch these games, or y'all just going off the fact that y'all put these guys on a pedestal when they came in the league, and y'all don't want to admit that y'all was wrong. These guys are good players. Don't get me wrong. But they are not, to me, they don't look like top five quarterbacks in the league. To me, Tua looks better this year. Lamar Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Patrick Mahomes. So, I mean, there's other quarterbacks that look better than what Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I could put them four right there above anything that Herbert and Josh Allen is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to throw in a fifth. I'm trying to figure out a fifth in my mind right now. And even Jared Goff is looking better than them. So that's 5 quarterbacks right now. I can name just this year alone look better than those and look better than they do. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
you know how good, who got good numbers, just as good as Josh Allen, but he just ain't got a winning record. C.J. Stroud. I was looking
exactly
at his numbers today.
right. Yep, you right. And that's the crazy part, is because out of all these rookies, he's the one that's balling out the most. And the thing about it was Houston was supposed to be like one of those 1-15, 1-16, like 3-win type teams that basically be at the top of the draft again, picking probably offensive linemen, or, probably fighting to get in the slot to get maybe a Marvin Harrison Jr. or somebody like that. And they may look like they might actually compete for a 7th slot, or they might get 7-8 wins. You just never know, the way they playing, because they play so hard. I'm gonna tell you who 2 teams that impressed me the most this year, that you don't expect to win, but they impressed me a lot, is the Arizona Cardinals and the Houston Texans, because Arizona play everybody hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And could have easily rolled over, and they play everybody hard. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So,
That's right, man. That's right. But that's what it is, man. That's really all I have for this evening, man.
yeah, myself, man. I'm gonna watch this second game. I really couldn't watch the first game because I was driving, and I don't know, Denver get real dark at night. It was scary. I was driving down the interstate trying to get to my room, and boy, I had to pray all the way. Boy, it gets so dark on them roads.
I know that's right, bro. I ain't want you to see Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, or Cooper come out the woods.
My thing was, because I know if I'd been trying to watch the Lakers game while I was driving, I'll be messing around and got tunnel vision and be done went on the other side of the road, especially if I got pissed off or something. So I was like, nah, I ain't gonna even try to watch the game. I was going to catch highlights on this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and watch this second one, see what they talking about, what they look at. This Phoenix.
I can dig it, man. I can dig it, man. But yeah, man, it's been a great interview. Glad Coach Jones came on, man, and on to the next one, man. So make sure y'all tune in with 910 Sports Podcast Network and the 95 South Podcast Network, and shout out to everybody that support us, man. We definitely appreciate y'all supporting us, man. And the best is yet to come.
Yeah, y'all continue to watch Freedom Friday with Quinetta and Taylor Thomas and her show, Talks with Tay. I think that's what she called it, Talks with Tay. So y'all continue to support that, man. We got some big things coming, man. So y'all just stay tuned, man, and keep watching, man. Y'all know how we do. You know what I'm saying? King Jacob, Icon E, man. Y'all have a blessed one. Good night.
All right, good night.
I walked in the place, sat by the bar, all the drinks on me, don't go too far.